Hello and welcome. Today we've got Charlie Ward, and today we are going to be discussing the financial system, the New World Order, Ukraine, Putin, Trump, and much, much more. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Charlie can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Charlie, thank you for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to? It's been a very long time.
It has, and you and I used to have a regular spot, but we've been so busy, wrapped up with other things. There's so much going on. Yeah, everything's amazing at the moment right now. This is a very interesting journey because right at the start of this journey, 2 years ago for me, when I started doing my videos, I knew that all of this was happening to cover up the new financial reset. I just was unaware that there's two resets in play at that stage. And I found out since that the Great Reset and the Quantum Financials Reset are they sound the same, and they are so different you couldn't make it up. So it's been a fascinating journey. And now we're starting to see things happen. It's very much become a spiritual journey, certainly for me. I thank God every day in the mornings and at night that I was given this opportunity to see the transition of the world, forget the world system, the world.
Absolutely. Now, we know that Putin is a white hat. We just have to look at the mainstream media and see how much they hate him. And, it's very clear that Putin and Trump have always, worked together as well, especially what's happening with Ukraine. They're taking down the deep state. And also we're hearing in Russia that they've revalued, I believe, their currency, if I'm not mistaken, to gold backed. Would you like to explain to us exactly what's going on there and how is that going to lead on, towards the other countries going gold backed? Because we know that Trump and probably Putin now are very big fans of the gold standard.
Yes. The gold standard was the old system. The gold-backed currency is the new system. And of course, the first country to go public with that was Russia. And they announced this week that 5,000 rubles will equal 1 gram of gold. And very, very cleverly, as much as the West has decided to issue sanctions against Russia, they said, fine, it's okay. Now, if you're going to issue sanctions against us, then you cannot buy oil from us unless you've got gold or you buy our gold-backed rubles. We're not going to pay, you can't pay for it in dollars anymore, because if you're going to put sanctions against us, we're going to make sure you stick to those sanctions so that the only way you can buy gold is with rubles. So they've completely shot themselves in the foot. But I say shot themselves in the foot because this was Biden's plan. His plan was to destroy the US economy. And that way they could usher in the New World Order. You will own nothing. And you'll be happy. And this is in the New World Order's documentation online for anyone to read. It's there in plain sight. And that was their motto. You will own nothing and you'll be happy. They will own everything. And if you do as you're told, you can have most things. But if you don't, and we've had a little taster of it. We've had a little taster of it where you and I both know, unless you've been vaccinated, you can't go on holiday. And this is how they operate. And it was to give people an insight as to the way that this New World Order, because this is how the deep state wanted to manage people. They believe that we're not capable of controlling ourselves. They don't believe in the fact that you and I are sovereign. They regard us as useless eaters or useless feeders, whatever you want to put it. But they want to have total control over us. And this is basically the devil at work. Whereas God has a completely different plan. He wants every single human being to have its own sovereignty, to be in control of yourself. And that's, but on the face of it, the great reset from the Klaus Schwab and that, it was made to look the same as the quantum financial system reset, and it's not. So the reset in Russia has already taken place, whereas the currency has now been linked to 5,000 rubles to 1 gram of gold. And then there'll be a revaluation of everything in Russia against gold. So you can see how the revaluation will actually come out. The prices will be all set in each country against the price of the value of gold.
Absolutely. What does that mean right now in Russia in terms of their banking system now that they've gone gold backed? Is it still being operated normally, or?
Well, we're going to see that a lot of the banks will be shut down today, as it's April the 1st. A lot of banks will be shut because this was the last day to be compliant with Basel III. Basel III said that the banks had to have enough gold to back their position by today. It was supposed to be last year, but there was a lot of them that fell short. So they gave them until yesterday to do it. And if they didn't have the gold to back their positions, then they had to close their doors today. And we've seen quite a few in America that have closed their doors today. Some closed their doors yesterday. So we will see that, but the ones that have managed to secure enough gold to back their positions as a bank will continue to trade, because we're moving away from just a fiat currency to a gold-backed digital currency. And by the way, the digital currency that the deep state are using, the central bank digital currency, the CBDC, is not gold-backed. So for those people trying to define the difference between which is right and which is wrong, just make sure that the currency that you're looking for is the one that is gold-backed, because it has a physical value, whereas the other one does not, has no value at all.
Absolutely. So do you think we'd expect to see banks like HSBC and Barclays, close down because maybe they don't have enough gold?
I can tell you off the record that HSBC do have. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about Barclays, but I know that HSBC does have it. It's secured its position. But you will see a number of banks that will disappear, or they'll be swallowed up by other banks, because the banks are ruthless people anyway by the nature of the banking world. So when one gets into trouble and hasn't got enough gold, there'll be a number of other banks sitting there waiting to steal their business. And that's what they're very, very good at.
Absolutely. And how about XRP? When are we going to see that in the banking system, if you like? Because then I assume that when we do see that in the banking system, it will add value, it will increase. What do you think about that?
My problem is that, Nick, I'm 61 years old. Cryptocurrency, blockchain is a foreign language to me.
Right.
I've invested all my money in silver and gold. That's me personally. And we both know Lee Hemington. He said, just buy a little bit of XRP. So I bought a little bit of it. But it was only because he told me to do so, because before I'd even heard of XRP, because I was the first person to put it out nearly 2 years ago, that I was told that XRP was going to take a significant role in the future. Now, I didn't even know what XRP stood for or anything when I heard that. And I put it out there and asked people to explain to me exactly what it is. I now know that XRP, Ripple, whatever, was the digital system that was being tried out by the banking system. So the current banking system have been communicating with each other with the XRP, the Ripple system. And so we'll wait and see. At the moment, there's a pending court. There's a pending case with the authorities right now. They're trying to establish a few facts about it. So we'll have to wait and see on that.
Absolutely. And I just want to touch on as well, before we move on to the next topic, is, we've been waiting for a long time, especially humanitarian projects, who are people waiting to invest into these projects with the ZIMs. Apparently, according to the information that we've learned, they are government bonds that can be redeemed for those types of projects. Is that still ongoing, and would you say things have been delayed? Or what do you say about that?
I have to be very, very careful what I say at this moment in time, Nick. But I can tell you that we are in a very, very positive time right now. Mm-hmm. So things are certainly moving ahead. You're absolutely right. There was a delay because when you get to the bottom of any swamp, there's a lot of dirt down there, and none more so than the banking system. There was a lot more dirt there, probably than anybody had thought there was there. And there was also a number of plastic white hats, people that were pretending to be on the side of the white hats who were not. And they've all been flushed out now. And there's been a number of things that happened. But I can tell you that things behind the scenes are going extremely well right now.
What kind
I'm
of
not allowed to say more than that.
No worries. What types of things are going well without going into too much detail?
The financial side.
The financial side. Okay. Are we close?
Transitioning from, yeah, we're very close. From transitioning from one system to another, we are extremely close.
Now, ever since me and you started doing interviews, people were so asleep. I mean, talking about things like this, and people would think we're crazy. And now I can have half of these conversations with a normal person because people are slowly waking up. Slowly. It's so slow. And the mainstream media have turned slightly, and there's lots of soft disclosures. What do you think? What do you think the progress is with the mainstream media and slowly opening up and, cleaning out? What do you think about that?
Well, it's a bit like a little boy that's been caught stealing, isn't it? And when you start producing all the evidence, there's, they deal with the embarrassment, they deal with all of this, and some people just kick and scream, and that's what mainstream media are doing right now, kicking and screaming. But they realize it's futile, and they know they've been caught. None more so than what's now come into plain sight with Hunter Biden's laptop. The panic that's set in right now about that is ridiculous, because mainstream media, every single mainstream media, was served with the contents of what was on Hunter Biden's laptop. Every single mainstream media, and they published nothing a year ago, nothing. And they've all been served again.
It's a bit like the Maxwell case. Maxwell was asked to testify, and nothing for 2 years. It was only recently, that we're hearing now things are happening. And then I was very confused about Prince Andrew, how he just got away with paying 11-12 million. Do you think that was, a stunt for the public to see that actually, well, if you're really innocent, you wouldn't even pay 11-12 million?
Well, I actually heard somebody say the other day, this has always been the same, that if you've got money, you can get out of anything. And sadly, that has been true for many, many years. Money talks and bullshit walks. And this is how they work. They've always had control. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. I've worked with the top people in China for many, many years. And I was told 5 years ago, Charlie, if you ever have any problem in China at all, come to us and we'll deal with it. And I'm a nobody by comparison. But I had that kind of protection in China 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
So it's going on. And what we're seeing with Prince Andrew, this is all just breaking down the British royal family and showing them for what they really are. Where, we're seeing with Prince Charles, he's at the top of the tree when it comes to the New World Order. He's staked his colours to the pole, so we know where he is now. When that collapses, he's got nowhere to hide.
Absolutely, it's not a very good reputation for the royal family.
No, of course not. So we're in a very interesting time. That the one thing that's very interesting, Nick, that you and I both understand is when you understand the truth, you find peace and you feel peaceful. You feel full of peace. Whereas those people who are trying to sustain the lie, you can see the panic in their eyes, in their life. Somebody sent me a few news clips. I also saw what happened when in the Senate, when the number 2 from the FBI was being questioned about where is Hunter Biden's laptop. And he was really, really, really on edge. And then right at the end of the questioning, the guy said, Well, maybe I can just submit the evidence from Hunter Biden's laptop, seeing as you can't find it. I'd like to enter it into the Senate. Oh, the panic that went through there was unbelievable. Complete and utter panic.
I think we've got a lot to look forward to, especially with the midterm elections. What can you tell us about that? I mean, I've heard that, Trump could be the Speaker of the House, but do you think that could be just a distraction? What do you think? What have you heard about the midterms elections?
Everything like this is all distractions, but the fact of the matter is it all depends on Dominion. If Dominion still have access to the ballot counting machines, then Biden could win by 600 million votes. This is the reality, because the truth is, in 2020, Biden got less than 20% of the physical vote, less than 20%. Trump got just over 80% of the vote, and he lost. And when you get that kind of turnaround where they can pay to switch a vote that much, it needs to be sure this time that Dominion don't have access to it, and make sure that all the ballots are unnumbered. We already know that once we get rid of this old system, you've got quantum voting that's ready to take its place. But this all has to be exposed how corrupt they are. You and I never thought that we'd come this way. We were expecting Trump to remain in power. But this was all to expose how corrupt and evil they really are. And we're now seeing the damage that they've done, not just to America, but the entire world.
Yeah. Trump says in his rallies constantly that he's going to take back the House and, the White House and all of this. How do you see that happening in your opinion?
Well, first of all, what we're living through right now is a pantomime. It's all back to front. And now the dark side have even published the fact that they're not in the White House. They're doing everything from a studio. Why are the public not asking, so why are you not in the White House? Why has Biden never been inside the White House since he, took office? Why has he not got access to the nuclear code? Why is he not briefed by the Pentagon? Mm-hmm. Why aren't the public? Why aren't the mainstream media? If you're claiming to be a mainstream media, why have you not asked that question? Why are you quite happy turning up to a studio and pretending that it's the White House? Why? Why are you pretending all this time? Well, I know why you're pretending, because Biden doesn't even exist. So the one that they're using right now, they use out of a studio, and he at the moment the White House has been used for for military tribunals, and they have been ongoing for quite some time, and they obviously had to clean out underneath there because there was a lot of tunnels that needed to be dealt with, like there was in London, like there is in many places.
I mean, sorry, Charlie, go on.
I was going to say, including Ukraine.
There's never really been an explanation from anyone regarding why the White House was completely boarded up. And I don't know if it still is boarded up.
It's not at the moment, no. They've taken their boarding down. They've obviously they've been using it as a military tribunal, so that's why it was secured. So, but I was speaking to Anne van der Steel, who she said it's virtually back to normal now in Washington. It looks everything's normal. So, what has been going on? Why aren't mainstream media asking those questions?
Absolutely. They have to be asking these questions, and they're not. But this is what people are going to wake up to. They're going to realize that later, and hopefully wake up to the fact that they had a very dishonest media, right?
That's a very polite way of putting it, Nick.
Yeah, I know. I try to be polite.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know what you mean.
Dishonest. Yeah.
But Charlie, it's been wonderful having you. And I just want to say that, I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't been given the opportunity from yourself, who allowed me to interview you, 2 years ago, which we made great videos together to begin with as well. So thank you very much for giving me the platform. And, it's led me to this journey that I'm on today. And I'm so honored to serve the public with, unscripted news, and my own passion, which I'm very eager to learn and, learn myself. And it's been a great journey. And I'd like to thank you very, very much for that.
It's been an absolute pleasure. There's one piece of news I would like to give to you on your show, we've been in contact with a Russian military general, who's in Ukraine. And we asked the question, Nick, when will you be leaving Ukraine? And do you know what his answer was?
Go on.
When we've rescued the children.
Wow. So this is a real takedown.
This is a real takedown. They're taking down the weapons factories, but they're rescuing children from Ukraine as well. So it's one hell of an operation, and it's been a bloody battle there. I mean, Mariupol has been completely destroyed. So there's an awful lot of stuff going on there. But I'll tell you right now that it came out from the chairman of BlackRock. He made it very, very clear that the war between Russia and Ukraine has ended the New World Order's agenda, because they needed those weapons to reduce the population by 95%. And that's a critical part of their armory that's been completely removed. And when the penny drops for people that they wanted to reduce the population by 95%, most of the English speakers would have been removed by these weapons, most of them, because they're not really interested in the Americans or the Europeans or the English or the Australians, Kiwis, South Africans. They wanted to keep the Chinese because they're used to doing as they're told. And if you take 95% of 6.8 billion people, you could very easily, you'd still have to kill, if you killed the entire world's population, you still have too many people with the 1.5 billion that there is in China.
Wow, it's a mess, isn't it?
It would have been if they'd won. We came very, very close to them doing that. We came very, very close, but thank God that we didn't. And now we're transitioning from darkness into light, and this journey's now become a lot more fun.
Absolutely. Well, Charlie Ward, it's been an absolute honor to have you once again. Thank you so, so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
No, I'd like to say well done to you, Nick. You've done a great job. This has been one hell of a fight. You've continued to put out good information, interview good people, and that's what it's about. It's about sharing our experiences and talking to as many people as we can, because every single person has a value, an equal value. Man, woman, black, white, yellow, doesn't matter what color you are. Brown, no difference. Our hearts are all the same color. So it's a question of bringing people together where they've always tried to divide us. Even with you, Nick, you've grown up knowing that the Turks and the Greeks have always had a war. In England, it's always been the English and the Scottish. In Australia, it's been the Australian and the Kiwis. There's always been, in America, it's the Americans against the Canadians with a sidekick from the Mexicans. There's always been, they've tried to divide us. Well, this has had completely the opposite effect. This brings everybody together, and this is what this whole journey is about: bringing people together and making sure people appreciate what everybody has, and making sure that what we have, we appreciate what we have. Every single person out there needs to appreciate their own value.
Absolutely.
But thank you very much, Nick. Always great to catch up with you, buddy.
Thank you, Charlie. Take care. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.